Hey, Captain Logos here, preacher at large, teaching the word and inspiring, 3 minutes at a time. Hey, been reading in James today, and I'm going to be in James for a while. I'm going through it inductively, and maybe I'll put that out there one time on a longer session. But James 14 and 15, it's talking about temptation, and a lot of times we wonder why we do what we do. And then when somebody asks us, why'd you do that? Well, the devil made me do it. No, the devil didn't make you do it. The devil don't make you do anything. We always like to blame the devil because, we're human, right? We got to have somebody to blame. Can't be my fault, especially today, right? There's no accountability, no taking account for your actions. But let me tell you right now, here's what James says. Now, you know anything about James? James is the book that a lot of theologians just want to do away with because it puts teeth to almost everything in the New Testament that people talk about, and it makes you do stuff, right? And so here's what he says. He says, but each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed. Then when desire has conceived, it brings forth sin, and sin, when it is full grown, brings forth death. Look, the devil didn't make you do it. You did it on your own. So get it under control. Get your flesh under control. Why? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. James describes this that I just read in verse 15. Temptation comes, right? Then at this point, we have a choice. We're either going to do what Paul tells us and to take every thought captive and dismiss it, or we're going to dwell on it, right? Then when we become enticed, so if we don't do what Paul says, that temptation comes. It's not sin, it's just temptation. We get enticed by it, right? Still not sin yet, but we're intrigued and we're enticed. And if we keep going down that path, at some point, that desire gives birth to sin. That means we acted on it because we were enticed by it and we didn't dismiss it. We didn't think on the good things of God, but we chose to dwell on the thing we didn't want to do. Then we acted on it and it became sin. That's when it becomes sin, when we act on that temptation or that desire or that enticement. And then James goes on to say, when that sin grows up, it leads to death. So, we're tempted by our desires. If we dwell on it, we stay enticed. Eventually, it conceives sin because we act on it. And then when that sin grows up, it equals death. Now, this is not the death of the flesh, this body, this thing here, right? Because it's appointed for all men to die once. He's talking about the second death, right? Separation from God after the first death. Yeah, you get the picture, i.e. hell. So, let's do what James says. He also says to be doers of the word, not hearers only. So don't just hear me today, but be doers of the word. Understand what James is telling us, and that we need to not do these things, and understand that sin is enticing, but it's our flesh and our own lust and our own desires that lead us to it. So don't be led by sin. Be led by God's righteousness. Now, put your face in the Bible.